All right, everyone. Welcome to our soccer volunteer training video. My name is Alex Ryder. I'm the Senior Manager of Volunteers here with Special Olympics Washington. I can be reached at aryder@soa.org. Today, we just wanted to give you guys a rundown of soccer at Special Olympics and exactly what you're going to be doing as a volunteer. So, starting off with our volunteer fundamentals, the basics. So, our sports season here at Special Olympics soccer is going to be March through June. The culminating state event is, of course, our state spring games. Events offered. So, team wise and unified and individual team, we'll go through exactly what those mean. We're going to have 7 aside teams and 5 aside teams, as well as an individual skills contest, which a lot of you guys are going to be helping out volunteering at that. So some of the volunteer roles. So the main one, scorekeeper. We need scorekeepers positioned at all of our fields, helping keep track of who's in the game, who's scored, and just total final score of the game, any fouls that get recorded, those kind of things. Team escorts and ball retrievers. So these people are essentially positioned around the field and are great to help get the ball back in play, keep the flow going. And they do kind of assist with the referee and, making sure the direction's going the right way, all of those kind of things. But they're really important for the flow of the game. Of course, referees, we could not do this without you guys. So thank you all. It's a big task, but we need you. Individual skills, like I mentioned, a lot of you guys will be helping out at the individual skills portion, and I'll go through exactly what those are and how that looks. And then finally, fans in the stands. It's always great to have a loud, raucous atmosphere. So the more people that we can have in those fans in the stands role, the better. All right, so our field and equipment. So ball size is a little bit different. This is really important for those of you maybe working at a score table, or of course the officials, just making sure we're putting the right ball into play. Juniors are using the size 4 ball and seniors a size 5 ball. Our 5-a-side field, a lot of you guys will be helping set up the actual courts, or sorry, the fields themselves once you arrive on site as part of your volunteer duty. And of course, we'll walk you through exactly what those actually look like when we get out to the field. But just, so a 5-a-side field, a little bit smaller. The dimensions can vary, so it can be anywhere between 50 and 35 meters to 40 by 30 meters. The smaller field is recommended for lower ability. And again, the goal size can vary a little bit too. The goal area is set by 8 meters by 12 meters, and the penalty mark is 7 meters for a goal size of 4 by 2, and at 6 for 3 by 2. So it's important to know what size net we're using, and of course, we'll talk you guys through that. For a 7-a-side field, you can see we're a little bit bigger in terms of our field itself, so a little more space to cover. Goal size is set at 5 by 2 meters. And then the goal area there is set at 8 by 20 meters. So some general rules, just kind of, giving a general lay of the land in terms of Special Olympics soccer. So when the ball passes over the goal line, having last been played by an attacking player, the goalkeeper standing within their own penalty area must throw the ball back into play beyond their own penalty area, but not further than the halfway line. The ball is then deemed in play as soon as it passes outside the penalty area. In our 5 and 7-a-side, when a goalie puts the ball back in play, they must throw the ball so it either bounces before the midfield or touches another player before the midfield line. The penalty for a violation of the rule is that the opponent's goalie may then have the opportunity to put the ball in play. Any play over the end line off a defensive play is an offensive corner kick. Any ball over the end line last touched by the offense is a goalie throw-in. And the really important thing to note is that there's no offsides for 5-a-side and 7-a-side. Coaches are expected to restrict their coaching to simple verbal encouragement. Verbal abuse of players, officials, or excessive and explicit coaching from the sidelines will be considered unsportsmanlike conduct and may result in a warning from the referee. If such behavior persists, the referee may eject the coach. Now, for those of you, if you happen to see this, please let us know in between games. We'll do our best to have walkie-talkies for our scorekeepers at our fields. If this is something that you're seeing come up, go ahead and radio to us and just let us know so a staff member can assist you with that and try to figure out what exactly is going on. So our team sizes, so the minimum team size is 6 players for 5-a-side. The maximum is 10. Unified, however, has a minimum of 7 and a maximum of 10. And then in 7-a-side, the minimum is 8 with a maximum of 14. And unified of 7 and unified 7-a-side is 9 players and a maximum of 14. So as you can see, there are substitutions, and that'll be something you scorekeepers are tracking. The big thing is that we don't want these substitutions to go on the fly. Those are only at the direction of the referee. So make sure that the referee has actually called that player in and the other player who they are replacing has left, so we know exactly who's in and out of the game. Uh, Teams may register 3 athletes as alternates. Games must start with 5 players or 7 players. Games may continue with 4 aside or 6 aside, respectively, if an injury occurs. In 5 and 7 on matches, our games usually, as you can see, our 7 on matches last 2 17-minute halves with a 5-minute halftime break. Our 5-a-side soccer will be played with 2 15-minute halves and a 5-minute break during halftime. Again, the really important thing for you referees, even you scorekeepers, for those of you who might be ball shaggers, we are not calling offsides in 5-a-side or 7-a-side. If the game happens to be tied at the end of regulation, a shootout will be played. So 5 penalty shots will be taken by each team, with the team scoring the most declared the winner. Our unified team competition. So this is when athletes with and without intellectual disabilities are on the same team. And essentially the roster shall contain a proportionate number of traditional athletes and partners. Each team shall have an adult non-playing head coach responsible for the lineup and conduct of team during the competition. The big thing to note is that you, as a scorekeeper, should be indicated who is an athlete and who is a partner, so we can know that we have the proper ratio at all times. Coaches are going to monitor their players to ensure that all players are contributing. There's no player domination. And again, no player domination by one individual player. So our individual skills, a lot of you guys are going to be helping out with this. We have a few events that you'll go through and help track the points. So event 1 is dribbling. So essentially our setup is a regulation size ball, tape, chalk, 4 large cones to mark the finish zone. What the player does is dribbles from the starting line to the finish load, staying inside the marked lane. The finish zone should be marked off with cones as well as chalk. So as you can see here, there's about a 15-meter distance that they go through here in a width of 5 meters, trying to get to the finish zone. And essentially, we have some time ratios for you where you're going to be able to track how quickly they did it. So if they finish in 5 to 10 seconds, that's 60 points, and then just be able to track the points that way. Our event 2 is shooting. So 5 regulation size balls, tape or chalk, 4 by 2 meters, and a 5-a-side goal with net. So the description here is the player begins at the start line and walks or runs forward to shoot the ball into the goal from a distance of 6 meters away. The player then returns to the line. An athlete will take a total of 5 shots and has 2 minutes to complete that. And essentially, you're going to be tracking how many goals they made, as you can see here. So a volunteer will be help placing the ball. You'll have a few balls ready to go. We'll have a few volunteers back in this area, making sure that no balls go errant, and you track those down, and then just keeping track of how many balls went into the net. Event number 3 is run and kick. So 4 regulation size balls placed as shown. So in this kind of cross-like pattern here, a central starting point should be marked, and a 2-meter wide target gate set up 2 meters ahead of each ball. So a player begins at the starting marker. So we're saying that that's right here. They then run to any ball and kicks it through the target gate. So as you can see, there's gates here, gates here, gates here. They are only allowed shooting to kick the ball once. So if you kick this ball, maybe it doesn't go far enough, you can't come up and kick it again, then you must just immediately go and kick the next one. So we'll have, again, kind of a breakdown of points for you guys and how exactly that works. All right, so our volunteer code of conduct. As a Special Olympics volunteer, I agree that while serving as a volunteer, I will provide for the general welfare, health, and safety, dress and act in an appropriate manner at all times, follow the established rules and guidelines, report any emergencies to the proper authorities, abstaining from the consumption or use of all alcohol, tobacco, and illegal substances, and not engaging in any inappropriate contact or relationships with athletes, volunteers, or other. All right, we just want to thank you guys for volunteering so much. We're still looking for volunteers at all of our events, so be sure to have your friends and family register today. You can see all of our available opportunities by heading to specialolympicswashington.org/volunteer. The great thing about soccer is we have so many competitions. We have a Northwest, Southwest, East regional competitions, as well as a unified competitions throughout the state. And of course, you can join us at our state spring games down at PLU and help out there. For confirmation of volunteer hours, please email me at arider@sowa.org, and we'll also have those forms on site. And feel free to use that email with any questions, comments, concerns you might have. Again, this is a high-level overview, just some of the basics about Special Olympics soccer. Once you actually arrive on site, you're going to receive a more detailed training from our staff member on site who will get you all set up for the day. Again, we just want to thank you guys so much for volunteering with us. Can't wait to see you out at our events. And don't hesitate to reach out with any questions that you might have. Thank you.